Have you ever stopped to think about how we can see inside our own bodies without a single cut? It's something we totally take for granted, right? Well, that whole story, one of the most important inventions ever, all started because of a complete accident in a pitch-black lab.
So, what does a world-changing accident actually look like? Well, most of the time, it's not some big explosion. Sometimes, it's just a faint, weird little glimmer of light. Okay, let's get into it.
To really get this story, we've got to go way back to the late 1800s. This was a time of just wild scientific curiosity. The telephone was brand new, the light bulb was just starting to show up, and physicists everywhere were playing around with electricity, pretty much convinced the next huge discovery was right around the corner.
And right at the center of all these experiments was this gadget, the cathode ray tube. Basically, just think of a glass tube with all the air sucked out of it. When you shoot electricity through it, it glows. And yeah, if it looks familiar, it's because this is the granddaddy of our old bulky TVs and computer monitors.
So, the researchers back then were absolutely obsessed with the light these things produced. They studied it, they wrote about it, and they really thought they had it all figured out. But there was a secret hidden in that glow that nobody saw coming.
So let's get to the big moment, the accident itself. We're about to meet the guy at the heart of this whole thing.
Okay, remember this date, November 8th, 1895. In the science world, it was just another Friday, but by the end of the night, it would turn out to be one of the most important days ever.
So picture this. There's a physicist, Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, and he's working late in his lab in Germany. And to really see the faint glow from his experiments, he's made the room completely, utterly dark.
He's got his cathode ray tube running, but he's covered it in thick black cardboard to block all the visible light. Then, across the room, something impossible happens. A little screen coated with a chemical starts to glow.
Now this just shouldn't be happening. The cardboard was supposed to block everything, but somehow some kind of invisible energy was blasting out of the tube, shooting across the room and hitting that screen.
Röntgen was so hooked, he basically lived in his lab for the next few weeks. He ate and slept there, just repeating the experiment over and over. And he came to one simple conclusion. He had no idea what this was, but it was definitely something new. A new, mysterious kind of red.
So what do you call something when you have no clue what it is? Well, if you're Röntgen, you call it an X-ray. Just like X in a math problem, the symbol for the unknown. And that name, which perfectly captured the mystery, is the one that stuck.
Finding an invisible ray is one thing, but how do you prove it exists to the rest of the world? You've got to make it visible. And what he did next was just pure genius.
Röntgen knew he needed to capture an image made by these new rays. So, in this now famous moment, he asked his wife, Anna Bertha, for a little help. He had her put her hand on top of a photographic plate, and then he zapped it with the invisible rays.
So how did it work? It's actually incredibly simple. The X-rays just sailed right through the soft parts of her hand, the skin, the muscle, but the denser stuff, her bones, and her big wedding ring, they blocked the rays. And that block created a perfect shadow of her skeleton on the film underneath.
And the picture they got? It was just mind-blowing. For the very first time, a human being was looking at the bones inside a living person without a knife in sight. This one photo literally changed medicine forever.
And believe me, this didn't stay a lab curiosity for long. The real-world use was so obvious that things started moving at lightning speed. Just look at how fast this all happened. Within a year, a doctor was using an X-ray to find a bullet stuck in a guy's leg. The idea spread like wildfire. But it wasn't just doctors who were interested. The public kind of freaked out, worried these rays could see through their clothes. And get this, companies actually started selling X-ray-proof underwear. It was this crazy mix of life-saving science and complete paranoia.
And here's the part of the story that's truly amazing, the part about Röntgen himself. The man could have been fabulously wealthy. Instead, he flat out refused to patent the X-ray. He believed it belonged to everyone. His idea was that science was there to help people, not to make a profit. And because of that decision, the technology could spread everywhere, fast.
For this incredible, selfless gift to humanity, the world took notice. In 1901, they awarded the very first Nobel Prize in Physics to Wilhelm Röntgen, a pretty fitting tribute for a discovery that was already saving lives all over the globe.
Now you might think the story pretty much ends there, with medicine. But the legacy of that little glow in a dark room goes to places you would never, ever expect.
Seriously,
Check this out. Art historians use X-rays to find hidden paintings underneath famous ones, literally revealing an artist's first draft. Archaeologists use them to peek inside ancient coffins without damaging the mummy inside. And in medicine, we've gone way beyond just taking pictures. We now use powerful X-rays to fight diseases like cancer.
And all of that brings us to one last thought. Röntgen's story is just such a great reminder that the biggest breakthroughs don't always come from some huge planned-out project. Sometimes they come from just being curious, paying attention, and looking a little closer at something that doesn't seem quite right. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What faint glow are we all overlooking right now?